Good evening, everybody. You're watching Kurt's Philosophy. My name is Kurt Johnson, and I'm very excited to be back here with you tonight on Monday. We have a great show planned for you tonight. We have a lot to talk about, lots to get into. Big show. Iran versus Israel. And we are being dragged into this war, and it's looking like it's going to be World War III. And I mean, who could have predicted this? Oh, wait. I think I know who. I've called it on my show plenty of times. If you've been paying attention, if you've been watching, if you've been listening, if you follow me on Twitter, I have resoundingly stated that this would end up being the case for ultimate hegemony in the Middle East is going to come down to a war between Israel and Iran. Israel has completely taken out all of Iran's proxies, ostensively, and this is where we're at now. And I called it. I predicted it throughout the entire way. So if you were paying attention, if you were watching my show, you're not surprised. If you weren't, and you were watching retards like Ben Shapiro, Curtis Yarvin, Charlie Kirk, there's no way you saw this coming. And I was right all along. I was right not only about this situation. I was right about Iran. I was right about Trump. I was right about J.D. Vance. Oh, this is base. This is the golden age. Trump said before he got elected, I will stop the war in Ukraine and Russia within 24 hours. It's escalated to the highest of stakes it's ever been. Oh, I'll make Iran make a deal. Really? Well, Israel just struck Iran behind your back without your knowledge at all, and we are in World War III. So, this has just been predicted by me every step of the way, and I mean, this is no surprise, right? He is all bark and no bite. Oh, the mass deportations. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. Not happening. We're getting a World War III. Immigrants are coming in. Doesn't matter. No one's leaving. People are dying in America. And this is where we're at now. And so we're going to talk all about Iran versus Israel. We're going to talk all about the implications. We're going to talk about where we're at now. We're going to talk about how we got here and what it looks like moving forward. But before we get to that, I quickly want to touch on the mainstream argument of why Israel struck Iran. Okay, so the mainstream argument for why Israel struck Iran is because Iran has nuclear weapons. We can't allow Iran to have nuclear weapons. That's the rhetoric. The rhetoric is, oh, Iran has nuclear weapons, and if they have nuclear weapons, we just can't let that happen. Israel has a right to exist, right? Iran can't have nuclear weapons at all. That's what Donald Trump said. That's what Ben Shapiro said. That's what Curtis Yarvin said. That's what all these guys said. The final straw is Iran can't have nuclear weapons. That's why Israel attacked Iran. That's the mainstream narrative. But we're going to dissect that here today. But I quickly just want to say how insignificant and how stupid that argument actually is. Because the argument is Iran can't have nuclear weapons. That's the premise. That's the argument. That's the ground that they stand on. Yeah, one problem. They don't fucking have nuclear weapons. They don't. Have we heard this before in Iraq? Have we heard this before? And I want to make this explicitly clear because people that don't know are on social media and they're running away with this rhetoric that, yeah, it's because Iran has nuclear weapons. And you're misinformed, you're unintelligent, you're stupid. You don't know what you're talking about. Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. They have a civilian nuclear program with the ability to enrich uranium, which makes it easier to develop a nuclear bomb. I'm going to say that again. They do not have nuclear weapons. They have a civilian nuclear program that has the ability to enrich uranium, that has the capability to make a nuclear bomb if necessary. You know who does have a nuclear bomb in the Middle East? Can anyone guess? Oh, it's Israel. Oh, okay. But we're not going to talk about their nuclear program. We're not going to talk about their nuclear capabilities. We're not going to talk about their nuclear proliferation. We're only going to talk about Iran. We're going to say Iran can't have nukes. But Israel gets to have nukes, but not Iran. That's very interesting. That's very, very telling. So I just want to really quickly just get that out the way. Like the whole rhetoric, oh, Iran can't have nuclear, like Trump has gone out plenty of times, gone out today and said Iran can't have nuclear weapons and that's final. They don't. They do not. Do not let mainstream media fool you, trick you into believing that Iran is this rogue state that's just going to bomb Israel day in and day out. Because that's not the case. Iran was the one willing to negotiate. Iran was the one willing to come to the table. Iran was the one that wanted diplomacy. You know who does not want diplomacy? You know who did not want a deal? You know who sabotaged the deal? You know who sabotaged the talks repeatedly? Israel. So all this talk about, oh, Iran has nuclear weapons, that's just not true. It's not true. So let's get the bases right first, and then we can have a debate who's going to win or who's in the right, who's in the wrong moving forward, etc. You're just wrong. So the second I hear, oh, Iran has nuclear weapons, that's why, I instantly tune their argument out. They're retarded. They don't know anything. They're stupid. So I just hear this rhetoric all online, and it's just like really getting my blood to boil because that's not the truth. So you're either lying to the American people or you know what you're doing and it's a deliberate act. And you should be shamed. So all the talks have been about, before we got to the point now where Israel decided to bomb Iran, before they decided to strike Iran, all the negotiations were over Iran's nuclear program. It was not over their nukes, because they do not have nukes. This entire conversation was over their civilian nuclear program and their ability to enrich uranium. So that's the real reason why. And we'll talk about the negotiations. We'll talk about why the negotiations gone wrong. We'll talk about all that. We'll get up to, where we are now. We'll talk about all of that. But I just quickly wanted to give you guys the premise in terms of this is not correct. This is not the real reason why we are at war. The real reason we are at war is because Israel wants regime change in the Middle East. And we'll talk about that as well. But before we get into it, I'm going to remind you to smash the follow button here on Rumble. Smash the like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. Help me to impact and to reach as many people as possible. What else? I don't think I'm going to have too much, guys. I think we're just going to go right into this because this is a big story. And I'm going to try to keep it short, or not short, but I'm going to try to keep it reasonable. But in order for me to explain where we are now, it's going to take a lot of deep diving. It's going to take a lot of explaining. It's going to take a lot of me going on little monologues. But it's all for you to help. It's all to help you to understand how we got to where we are now. So I'm aiming for an hour. It's going to be an hour show. I'm aiming for an hour. It may go a little over, but I will try to keep it within that hour. So let me just go through my notes here. So, yeah, so let's get started. So, we already knocked out the premise that Israel struck Iran because of their nukes, because we know that they don't have them. So, in order to fully understand the full picture, we need to go back into history so that it makes sense for you guys. We need to go back into history so that it makes sense why Israel's actually doing what they're doing, right? We need to put a microscope under the real reason why, and to do that, we need to go back into the history, right? And so let's go back into history. Let's go back to where Israel is, okay? Let's go back to where Israel is. Israel was invented, I believe it was 1948, okay? In the 1940s, early 1950s, they were established, okay? Now, before this, they were kicked out of 109 countries. I'm not going to get into the reasons. Everyone has their own reason why. Some people think it's because it's just in your blood to be a low IQ anti-Semite. Other people believe it's because they were sacrificing Christian-born children to the pagan god Moloch. Some people believe that they've been kicked out of 109 countries because of tax reasons. Some people believe that they were kicked out of 109 countries for sacrificing Christian children, for sacrificing themselves to pagan deities. I'll let you guys decide which is the real reason why they would get kicked out of a country. Would it just be because it's in our blood to hate Jews? Or is it because of their actions? They're cutting babies' penises off, etc. What's the real reason? Right? But I'm not going to spend too much time on that. So, they were kicked out of 109 countries, okay? They finally get a country. They finally get some land in Israel, okay? It's called Israel. One problem, they are surrounded around a bunch of Middle Eastern countries that hate them. If you look on the map, they're surrounded around a bunch of countries that don't agree with them religiously, ideologically, spiritually, any way, shape, or form. They disagree on everything. They hate each other. So Israel is surrounded around a bunch of countries that hate them. Then every single country on earth declares war on Israel. All the countries surrounded around Israel in the Middle East declares war on Israel. Then you ask yourself, well, what happens? How do they get out of that situation? The help of the United States. The United States comes in to negotiate peace talks. They come in to, basically be the big brother to Israel for religious reasons, right? Because Christians believe that Jews are the chosen people. They believe that Israel has a right to exist. They believe in all of these things, which to some degree is true to some degree. But there's another piece that no one talks about. And the other piece is, when you look at how Israel was made, they were made by Jewish Zionists that lived in America. Jewish smugglers, etc. Meyer Lansky, James Angleton, among others. They came in, they were pioneers of the country we know now called Israel that lived in America, that had heavy influence in America, in American politics, in the drug cartels, in the underworld. And these people really wanted to see the birth and the success of Israel. So much so that these guys stole uranium, which we just talked about is you enrich uranium, is that's how you make a nuclear bomb. They stole uranium from the United States to develop a nuclear bomb so that way they can deter the countries around them from bombing them. So they stole uranium from the United States to develop a nuclear bomb so that way other countries surrounding them wouldn't bomb them and nuke them to death. So they have the United States as a big brother And then if all hell breaks loose, they have a nuclear bomb. And that's the invention of Israel. And by the way, JFK saw that this was coming, which is why he did not want Israel to have nuclear weapons. He did not want Israel to have nuclear proliferation. He wanted to inspect their nuclear program. They had a civilian nuclear program because they stole uranium from us. And how do you get nukes? You enrich uranium at a high level. And JFK knew this, and he said, I'm going to inspect your nuclear program to make sure you're not developing a nuclear bomb. Before he could do that, he gets assassinated. LBJ steps in office and gives Israel whatever they want. He gives them foreign aid. He lets them develop a nuclear bomb that they now got in 1968. And the rest is history. So this is how I just want to quickly pretense how Israel was brought to fruition. So you understand our ties to Israel that are religious, but also they are deeply rooted in politics, deeply rooted in our underworld. And also why we unequivocally support Israel from the jump, because we had heavy influence on them even existing in the first place. So, with that being said, we go on to fight the wars, fight their wars, give them money, give them foreign aid, give them whatever they want. The war in Iraq, the war in Syria, Lebanon, etc. We fought all these wars on Israel's behalf. Some of them had nuclear weapons. Some of them did not. But there was only one, there was only one common denominator to the people that Israel wanted to bomb, wanted to be at war with. There was one common denominator. They have the nuclear bomb. They have the support of the United States. All the countries around them backed off. America made deals with everyone. America played Big Brother. They had nothing to worry about. Why are they still declaring war? Is it because other countries had nukes? Well, we know this. We know that's not true. We know that's not true. Why? Because Israel wants full hegemony in the Middle East. They want friendly regime in the Middle East. And if they can't get it, they will take it. And that's why, leading up to now, we are where we are now. So I just wanted to put a context on it so that it makes sense for you guys. We've been at war with Iraq. We've been at war in Afghanistan. We've been at war in Syria. The Houthis in Yemen. None of them had a nuclear weapon outside of Iraq. Which we now later know that that wasn't the case. So you ask yourself, we're still getting involved in these wars. We're still doing this. We're still playing Big Brother. Why? It's because Israel wants regime change in the Middle East that's friendly towards their policy, that's friendly towards their imports and exports, that's friendly towards the Persian Gulf, etc. This is why. They don't want peace, which we'll get into a little later. So now, leading up to where we are now is the negotiation talks. So now we're going to talk a little bit about the negotiations in the last 60 days leading up to this. So I did a background over the last 70 years as to how they exist in the first place, why they're not getting along with everyone in the Middle East, their differences, why America supports them. So now let's get into the nuclear program talks, because this is the consensus, is that Israel bombed Iran because they have nuclear weapons, which I said in the beginning is not true. They have a nuclear program with the ability to enrich uranium to develop a nuclear bomb. So there have been talks the last 60 days. Trump gave them a 60-day deadline. And before we get into that, this all really starts October 7th. This all really starts October 7th. People were catching on to what Israel was doing. People were catching on. Oh, they say, do you think Israel has a right to exist? You say, yeah, sure, I think Israel has a right to exist. They say, okay, so we need to bomb everyone. We need to kill everyone. And then we go, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not, I don't want to bomb anyone. And they say, well, then you're just a low IQ anti-Semite. And you say, no, I'm not a Semite. And then they say, okay, so then support our wars. And that's what's happened over time. But people started catching on to this. And so Israel needed a new game plan. We're not going to fight their wars for free. Our people aren't going to support them just because of our religious reasons. We actually look at it and say, no, what's in it for us? What do we have? What do we have to gain from all this? So October 7th happens when Hamas surprise attacks Israel. That now gives Israel the green light to bomb Hamas. They bomb Hamas. They take over the Gaza Strip. They bomb Syria. They bomb Iraq. They bomb the Houthis in Yemen. All leading up to now bombing Iran. And so you ask yourself, well, why did they bomb all those other countries? They didn't have nukes, did they? No, they did not. Why? Because they want a friendly regime to have full hegemony in the Middle East. Are you seeing a common theme here? It's not about nuclear. It's not about, does Israel have a right to exist? Israel's been existing. It's not about that. It's about full control and being a world superpower. That's what they want. They want power. They want full power in the Middle East. So they bomb, in just the span of 2023, they bomb Iraq, they bomb Syria, they bomb the Houthis in Yemen. All of Iran's proxies. All leading up to the big dog, which is Iran. None of those countries, none of those guys have nukes. None of those guys have the capability to develop nukes. Iran is the big dog. Iran is the final boss. Iran is the last country in the way from Israel being a superpower in the Middle East. Think of it as a game of chess. This is the last piece. They took that pawn, they took that pawn, they took that queen. This is the last step. This is the big dog. This is the king. This is the last step for them. They want absolute power. And this is the last step is Iran. And so what's their excuse? They cannot beat Iran one-on-one. They cannot beat Iran. They could barely beat the Houthis in Yemen. They beat Hamas, right? They beat Palestine. They severely had damaged Iraq and Syria. Houthis in Yemen they can take care of. They haven't, but they can take care of if they put their whole hearts into it. And now we are at Iran. And there's a couple reasons why they attacked all of those countries before they attacked Iran. There's a couple reasons for this. One, if they bombed Iran, if Israel bombed Iran, Iran's proxies, which is Iraq, Syria, etc., the Houthis in Yemen, they would all attack Israel, and they're closer to Israel. And so the plan wouldn't work. The full hegemony plan, the full regime change in the Middle East would not work. Right? So, what did they do? They took out Iran's proxies single-handedly, one by one, now leading up to Iran. Iran is the last step. Iran controls 80% of the oil and gas. This is the last step. And so, 60 days ago, now I gave you guys a full pretext as to what happened from the 1940s to when they were invented, to 2023, to them bombing everyone, to now. So this is how the last 60 days have gone. Israel said they want to bomb Iran because they have a nuclear program. interesting how you say that, because they've been developing this nuclear program for a long time. So what's the deal now? What's the big problem now? Now that it fits your master plan in chess, now that it fits your plan, now your problem is they have a nuclear program? They cannot beat Iran by themselves. Iran has a population of 90 million people with 1 million soldiers, hundreds of ballistic missiles, and the ability to develop a nuclear bomb. They cannot defeat Iran alone. So what is their excuse? They turn to their big brother. They turn to their big brother, the United States, and they manipulate the United States. They say Israel has a nuclear they say Iran has a nuclear program. They can't have a nuclear program. It'll be devastating for everyone in the Middle East if they develop a nuclear bomb. That can't happen. Which aligns with the United States, because the United States would prefer countries to have less nukes, right? They would prefer no one to have nukes, honestly. They'd prefer no one to have nukes. We have capital in the Middle East. We have minerals in the Middle East. We have allies in the Middle East. We have infrastructure. We have army bases, etc. It would not be in our best interest for more countries in the Middle East to have a nuclear bomb. And so what does Israel do? Israel wants to get us involved. So how'd they get us involved? They throw us a bone as to what we want. They say, hey, you don't want Iran to have a nuclear bomb, do you? We have to stop them. And that's the rhetoric that I said at the top of the show. They said the rhetoric is Iran cannot have a nuclear bomb. Trump is getting played like a bitch right now, because that's not what Israel cares about. They do not care about Iran having a nuclear bomb or not. And the reason why they don't care is because they would lose to Iran one-on-one anyways. They would lose to Iran one-on-one without Iran having a nuclear program, without Iran using nuclear bombs. They could attack the Iron Dome. They could attack the David Sling. And they could beat Israel without nukes. They have hundreds of ballistic missiles. They have their bunker busting bombs. They could defeat Israel without nukes. Israel knows this, which is why they do not care if Iran has nukes or not. What they care about is full regime change in the Middle East, because they want power. They want to be a superpower. They want world dominance in the Middle East. So what do? They throw a bone to the United States. They say, you don't want Iran to have a nuclear program, do you? Trump says, well, no, I don't. So let's negotiate. So the negotiations were for 60 days, just about. And it was about Iran's nuclear program. And Iran said blatantly, we can have a conversation, but we are not giving up our nuclear program. Excuse me. We are not giving up our nuclear program. Excuse me. That is off the table. We could negotiate, who's watching our nuclear program to make sure that we're, that we're not developing a nuclear bomb. But we are going to have a nuclear program, and we are going to continue to enrich uranium. Anything short of that, we do not have a deal. Okay? They clearly have said this. And for 60 days, Trump and the administration has gone back and forth with Iran about whether they are going to allow Iran to have the nuclear program. Are they going to allow them to continue to enrich uranium? And they've gone back and forth. Trump repeatedly had said, we're not going to allow them to enrich uranium. We are not going to allow them to have a nuclear program. But he also repeatedly walked it back, and he said, well, they can enrich uranium, but at just low levels, at civilian levels. but they can't enrich it enough to develop a nuclear bomb. They then come to sort of an agreement. The talks were going on the ups. They then had somewhat of an agreement, the United States and Iran, where Iran said, we are going to continue to enrich uranium. We are going to continue to have our nuclear program. But there's talks about moving it outside of Iranian soil, maybe to the Persian Gulf, and have personnel oversee it like Saudi Arabia, the United States, and Qatar. Or there were talks of, well, it can stay on Iranian soil, but it can just be watched by American soldiers to make sure that they're not enriching uranium past the nuclear, which is, I believe, it's like 70%. So they were reaching negotiations. They were reaching a deal. But two things happened in the last couple of weeks that deterred the negotiations. One, Bibi Netanyahu came out and said, I do not care if America and Iran make a deal. I am still going to bomb Iran. This is what the Bibi Netanyahu said, Prime Minister of Israel. This is what he said. That's what he said. So all this, Israel has a right to defend itself, and, shouldn't Israel exist? Hey, fucktard. Do you not understand? Are you not paying attention? Hello? Iran was willing to make a deal. It's Bibi Netanyahu. It's Israel that said, I don't care about diplomacy. I don't care about a deal. I want war. This is what their prime minister said. So why the hell would Iran agree to any type of deal when Israel is saying they are going to bomb them no matter what happens? If someone came to your house and said, well, I'm going to shoot you, and then you try to negotiate and say, well, okay, fine. If I give away my gun, will you put your gun down? And the perpetrator says, well, regardless of you put your gun down or not, I'm still going to kill your ass. Are you going to then put your gun down? No. And so Bibi Netanyahu strategically did that to stop diplomacy. He did that to stop the negotiations. He said he was going to bomb Iran no matter what. It didn't matter. Because they can't have a nuclear program, and that's the bottom line. But there's another reason why the negotiations stopped as well. Is because Iran wanted security guarantee. They said if we move our nuclear facilities and our nuclear sites and our nuclear program, if we move it outside of Iranian soil, what is the guarantee that Israel's not going to bomb us when he's literally saying that he is? And so negotiations stopped. A couple days later, Israel strikes Iran. Trump pleaded with Netanyahu, please give me more time. I can negotiate a peace deal, please. He begged. He was on his knees. He begged Netanyahu. Netanyahu said, I don't give a fuck about what you think. You think I care about what you think? I don't at all. And he strikes Iran. So does this seem like it's over nuclear weapons? Or is it something else? If they were willing to make a deal to where they do not enrich uranium to have a nuclear bomb. Iran agreed that they would not enrich uranium to have a bomb. So what's the purpose of bombing Iran if you're Israel? Furthermore, when you get into the logistics of the bomb, the strike on Iran, Israel did not attack, or they attacked very little of their nuclear infrastructure. Excuse me. They attacked very little of their nuclear sites. They attacked one in Tehran, I believe. Which, by the way, as well, they're deep underground. Their nuclear program is deep underground in the mountains. There's mountains, and then underneath that is where their nuclear programs are, is where their nuclear facilities are. So even if Israel wanted to, they could not strike their nuclear program. So if it was over nukes, if it was over they can't have a nuclear weapon, why is Israel bombing Iran? One, knowing that they cannot get to Iran's nuclear program anyways. And two, they cannot defeat Iran whether they have nukes or not. So those are two clear reasons to not bomb Iran. So why? Why? Why would they do it? Regime change. Again, they didn't, when they bombed Iran 3 days ago, when they bombed Iran, they did not attack. They did not bomb any of the nuclear infrastructure. You ask yourself, well, what did they bomb? They took out, they struck aircraft carriers, drones, and some missiles at Iran's leadership. I'm going to say that one more time. Airstrikes, drones, and some missiles, not at their nuclear program, not at their nuclear program that even if they wanted to, they could not get to, at Iran's leadership to topple their government. That's what they went after. They killed 5 to 7 leaders in Iran. Why did they do this? For a couple of reasons. One, so that Iran can retaliate, because obviously they're not going to sit with this. Obviously they can't let this stand. Obviously they're just not going to kill, Israel's just not going to kill Iran leadership and Iran not do anything about it. Yeah, Iran's going to come to the deal now. Of course not. You think Iran's going to come to the table now after you're killing their leaders? Of course not. Their leaders in communication, their leaders in more, their military soldiers, etc. Think they're going to come to the table now? No. And Netanyahu knew this, which is why he attacked their leadership for regime change. He did that for regime change. He also did it because he knows Iran's going to respond lethally, which is what they did. They dropped 40 to 400 ballistic missiles at Israel's Iron Dome, at their David Sling, at their Tel Aviv headquarters, and they're hurting bad. And again, Netanyahu and Israel know they cannot beat Iran one-on-one. So this is the old classic, I'm going to write a check that I can't cash. I'm going to promise something I cannot deliver on. Why? To rely on their big brother, the United States, to come in and save the day. Because there's only one country on earth, not Russia, not China, not Israel. There's only one country on earth that has the capability, that has the ballistic missiles deep enough, strong enough, powerful enough, fast enough that can get to Iran's nuclear program and destroy it. There's only one country. And that country is the United States. And that's why Israel struck them, because they know Iran's going to strike back harder, and now the United States is going to get involved. One, to protect their brother, Israel, and two, to destroy their nuclear program, because now more than ever, you know they're building a nuclear bomb. They just got struck by Israel. Of course they're building a nuclear bomb now. And this is exactly what Netanyahu wants. He wants Iran to build a nuclear bomb, so the United States can come in and destroy Iran. Are you getting it? This is a game of chess. This is a complete game of chess. Netanyahu, Israel, I'm going to give up a pawn so that I can win the game. I'm going to throw Trump a bone. I'm going to bomb their leadership. I know that I can't beat them. I know that I can't attack their nuclear program. I know this. So I'm going to provoke them to get the United States involved to beat them for us. That's the game. They did the same thing with Iraq. There were no weapons of mass destruction. They needed help of the United States to topple their government. Why do they want to topple their government? Because they want a friendly government in there that is going to defer to them. That's going to be more peaceful to them. Because you think the United States is going to allow a regime in there that hates Israel? Of course not. So that's the buildup. That's where we are now. And that's what led to these airstrikes. So you ask yourself, is it really the fact that they can't have nukes? Or does Israel want complete hegemony in the Middle East? You have to ask yourself that question. And if you still say it's because Iran has nukes is the reason why we're in this, then you're just low IQ retard. You're just a low IQ fucking retard. Turn this off right now and go watch Ben Shapiro. Go watch Curtis Yarvin. Go watch all these faggots that don't know what they're talking about. Because I just explained to you that it's not about nuclear. They've been at war with a bunch of countries that don't have nukes. What's the reason? When they targeted Iran, they did not target Iran's nuclear program. They couldn't even get to it if they tried. They're deep underground. There's only one country that can get to them, and it's the United States. So this is not over nuclear. Israel does not care if they have nukes or not. They would be destroyed regardless. They need the United States to get involved to topple their government. That's what this is about. So, I'm going to take a break here. So, but that's it. I want to move on. I want to get to our second portion of the show here where we're going to talk about who's in the right, who's in the wrong. We're going to talk about from Israel's perspective, and then obviously I'm going to wrap up from Iran's perspective again, the United States perspective again, and then we're going to get into some other things, and then we're gonna talk about how do I see this playing out. But quickly, I just want to go over it again. The mainstream rhetoric and the rhetoric of Jewish Zios, etc., is they cannot let Iran have nukes. And that's the position of the United States. They cannot let Iran have nukes. Because we have to protect our little brother, we have to protect our assets in the Middle East, and it would just not be good if we had countries running around with nukes, right? So that's the position of the United States. We really don't want them to really have nukes like that because then it's going to cause a lot of conflict, and we just don't really want that. We have a lot at stake in the Middle East. Our oil and gas would skyrocket. There's a lot going on. There's a lot at stake for us here. Israel's position is we want full regime change in the Middle East. How do we get this? Well, we can tackle our wars with the money that we get from the United States, with the bombs and weapons that we get from the United States. We'll bomb the Houthis, we'll bomb Hamas, Palestine, Houthis in Yemen, Iraq and Syria, Afghanistan, etc. Now we're at Iran. Oh shit, we can't beat Iran. Iran's gonna beat us either way. So what should we do now? Let's get the United States involved to win this war, to have full superpower, to be a full superpower in the Middle East, to have full hegemony in the Middle East. And Iran's position is, you want us to destroy our nuclear program when this idiot said he was going to bomb us anyways. No thanks. I think I'll take my chances with my nuclear program. It's stupid. It's stupid. It's absolutely retarded. And Trump, this has got to be Trump has become insufferable recently. He's become just, I just can't. I can't with this guy. Article from Reuters says, Trump says he hopes Israel and Iran can still strike a deal. This is concerning. This is so stupid and so retarded. It makes you question, and I hate to be this guy. But it makes you question the thought process and the well-being of the president. Do you really think that after Israel strikes Iran, that Iran's gonna then come to the table and make a deal? Are you retarded? What are you talking about? Israel said they want to completely destroy Iran. Do you really think there's a deal now? There's a rumor going around that the United States knew all along. And Trump said this. Trump said, oh yeah, I knew about the strikes. No, you didn't know about the strikes. You're a liar and you just want to boost your ego. You're a fucking liar. You did not know about this. You did not know about this strikes. Because if you did know, why were you in Qatar? Why were you in Iran? Why were you visiting the Middle East trying to strike a deal? Why were you begging on True Social to make a deal with Iran? Why were you pleading with Netanyahu to make a deal if you knew the strikes were going to happen all along? You did not know. You're a liar and you're all about your fucking ego. That's the truth. You did not know what was going to happen. And you still think Iran's going to come to the table? Get the fuck out of here. You don't know what you're talking about. Iran is not going to come to the table now. Now, you've sealed your fate, as they said on Twitter. You've sealed your fate. You're going to war. That's it, and that's that. So, I'm not even going to read this article because it's honestly just infuriating. I hope there's going to be a deal. I think there's still time for a deal. Sometimes you have to fight it out, but we're going to make it happen. I'm sorry to inform you, Mr. President, but there is no deal. You think any country in the Middle East, for that matter, let alone Iran, is going to trust you now? Do you really think that? When you're in bed with Netanyahu and you're giving him billions of dollars in foreign aid and they could not carry out strikes this confidently without the backing of the United States. They could not carry out a strike like this without the coordination and the help of the United States. Do you think Iran's going to come to the table now on a deal? Are you fucking retarded? What is wrong with you? They're not going to come to the table. This is a war. And innocent lives are going to die because of this man's ego and because of Bibi Netanyahu's sadistic, Satanist agenda to have full hegemony in the Middle East. But this is Trump's ego talking. Oh, I knew about the strikes. I didn't catch me off guard at all. Shut the fuck up. It caught you off guard. And if you didn't, then you just look like a fucking retard. Going through all these negotiations, begging with the president of Iran, on Truth Social, begging Netanyahu for a deal. Really? So either you knew all along and you're just a fucking puppet, or you didn't know and you're a retard. Either way, this is what you're getting. I predicted this, and I'm a nobody. How do you not see this coming? So either you're illiterate and you're a retard, or you're just a fucking puppet for Israel. Which one? But either way, you're not fit to be the president of the United States. Because you don't have America's interest. You don't have America's best interest at heart. In-fucking-credible. In-fucking-credible. And then you have these fucking retards online. You have Ben Shapiro, Charlie Kirk, Matt Walsh. Oh, I don't care about Israel. I only care about America. I don't care. I could care what else happens to Israel. I only care about America. We shouldn't worry about that. We shouldn't do that. We should just worry about America. Hey, fuckface. Do you not realize we give Israel whatever they fucking want? The reason why we care about Israel is because America cares about Israel. Is because our government cares about Israel. And it has since Israel has existed. as I just laid out. So these people, oh, I only care about America. You're either a fucking low IQ retard or you're a puppet and you're in on it. Either way, you cannot be trusted. I only care about America. You can go fuck yourself. Because you're completely, and it's a deliberate lie. It's deliberate. You see, before it was, well, we have to protect Israel. They're our greatest ally in the Middle East. We have to protect Israel. That was the rhetoric for so long. And then people started to catch on. They started to say, well, what does Israel actually gain from what do we have to gain from it? We're just giving Israel all this money and all these weapons and all the foreign aid and all the support. But what's really in it for us? What's really in it for America? What's really in it for us? And people started to catch on. And then they said, well, if you don't get it, you're just a low IQ anti-Semite. If you don't get it, you're just a Jew hater. People start to say, fine, I don't care. I'm still willing to ask the question. What do we have to gain from aligning ourselves with Israel when we have problems in America? Everyone started to ask this question. Kanye came out with the song Hell Hitler. Became a topic. It became a real and actual thing. It became mainstream. People started talking about it all over. So they had to change their talking point. They said, oh, well, we can't say Israel's our greatest ally anymore because we all know it's not true. The American people know it's not true. So what's the talking point now? Well, let's just shift it to being mediocre. Let's shift it to being in the middle, median. Let's shift it to say, well, instead of saying Israel's our greatest ally, they're not buying that anymore. So let's just say that, well, let's not really worry about that. Let's not ask questions why we give Israel so much. Let's not ask that. Let's just care about America. It's the subtle lie. It's the subtle lie. It's the incompetence. It's the subtle lie, or it's the complete deception of the American people. It's the complete deception. It's not providing full context. Yeah, I care about America. That's the reason why we're talking about Israel. Because America seems to care fully and unequivocally have Israel in their best interest regardless of America's interest. They say, oh, I only care about America first. Shut the fuck up. You don't know what you're talking about, or you're just a puppet and you're in on it. Either way, I don't want to hear what you got to say. Because you're stupid. You love Israel so much? How about you fucking go to Israel and live in Israel? Oh, Israel has a right to exist. That's what that fucking faggot Charlie Kirk says. But I only care about America, but I think Israel should have a right to exist. I think Israel has a right to exist. What the fuck does that mean? What are you talking about? Israel's been existing. And it's funny because you ask these fucking retards a question and they can't even answer it. They say, they can't even fucking be college kids. College kid asked Charlie Kirk, well, what's our benefit from Israel being our number one ally? He says, well, do you think Israel has a right to exist? He said, yeah, but I don't think we should be fighting their wars. He says, well, Israel has a right to defend itself. He says, yeah, Israel can defend itself, but why should America get involved? If we only care about America, why should America get involved? He says, well, I'll explain to you this way. Are you a believer in God? Well, then the Bible says that the Jews are the chosen people. I thought you just said you only care about America. And then he's quiet. Because all they can do is pull these shitty talking points out of the side of their fucking ass, and they don't know what they're talking about. And they look fucking retarded. So it's just amazing. I just really dislike when people say, I only care about America. It's like, yeah, I do too. Which is the reason why I don't want to send billions of dollars to support a cause that I don't support. Most Americans do not support war. Most Americans voted for Trump because he was anti-war. He was against war. He said he would stop the war in Russia and Ukraine in 24 hours. He was against war. That's why most people voted for Trump. What are we getting? War. And not for nothing, but again, I predicted this. I said that this was going to happen. And I called it. How did I know this was going to happen? Because I continuously say, show in and show out. It's not about the what. It's not about the where. It's not about the why. It is about who. Who are we talking about? And when we were talking about Trump, you have to look at who. Who is paying him? Who is in his pocket? It's Miriam Adelson, who's a Jewish Zio. It's Elon Musk, who's an immigrant refugee. And a bunch of other Jewish Zio donors. Mark Zuckerberg. He fully supported Ron DeSantis. They all love Israel. He then knew DeSantis was going to win, or DeSantis was going to lose rather, and Trump was going to win. He then supports Donald Trump. Same thing with Elon Musk. The writing's on the wall. They then support Trump. They then give Trump enough money to run his campaign. So with hundreds of millions of dollars supporting Trump to win his campaign, he ultimately wins the presidency. He wins the vote. Do you think he's going to be America first? Or do you think he owes the people that paid him to get into that position? J.D. Vance, the vice president of the United States, that I also predicted that he was going to be the vice president, the president. How did I predict that? Trump and Peter Thiel are very close. Peter Thiel is the owner of Palantir. Palantir is a CIA contracted agency that is AI intelligence. That's Israel first. Trump chooses J.D. Vance as his vice president, even though J.D. Vance was a never Trumper in 2016 up until 2019. He wrote a book called Trump is America's Hitler, etc. Then J.D. Vance has to change of heart. Why? Because Peter Thiel had to change of heart. Why? Because Trump was willing to give them whatever they wanted. Are you getting it? It's coming full circle. It's not that fucking hard. So, yeah, I mean, I kind of want to move on. I want to get to the end of the show here because we're an hour in. But this, I just fucking hate. Tucker, Israel has a right to exist. It's like, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Kill yourself. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut the fuck up. In-fucking-credible. Then you ask the people like Jordan Peterson. Yes, Jordan Peterson. Yeah, another fucking retard that wants to deem himself as this intellectual, but another fucking retard. You got fucking Jordan Peterson running around. Well, I think we should support Israel, and Israel has a right to exist and all these things, and shouldn't Israel have a right to defend itself and all these things? And then he debates this college kid on Jubilee, and he goes, "What the fuck does that have to do with America?" He goes, "Well, it's actually complicated. It's very complicated." No, it isn't. No, it's not that complicated. It's actually very simple. Answer the fucking question. What does that have to do with America's interests? They can't answer it. And this is why I said, and this is the last thing I'll say before I end the show, but this is exactly why I said there is a severe problem with Israeli influence in our government. And it's happened since the existence of Israel, with Mayor Lansky, with James Angleton, and others. They have wanted the existence and the world dominance of Israel since it existed. This is what they've wanted. They wanted this war for 25 years. And now they're getting it. Why? Because we're heavily influenced by Israel. I don't think it's even a debate now. I don't think you can even debate it. There's laws in college against anti-Semitism. You can't criticize Israel in college, or they'll revoke your license, they'll take your diploma back, and they'll ship you to Colombia if you criticize Israel. But you can criticize America, no problem. Who cares? I can criticize, if I go to college right now and I criticize America, no one cares. Freedom of speech. I go to college right now and criticize Israel. Now I'm just a low IQ anti-Semite. And I belong in jail and I'm a bad person. I get shipped to Colombia. Get the fuck out of here. This is America. This isn't fucking Israel. This is the United States of America, not the United States of Israel. But unfortunately, this is where we're at now. But that's that. I want to move on. I want to get to how I see this war playing out, and then I'm going to quickly end the show. So, how do I see this playing out? Well, you have Iran on one hand that thoroughly said that this war will not end peacefully. And in the words of Iran's prime minister, Israel has sealed its fate. So on one end, you have a pissed off Iran with hundreds of ballistic missiles and the capability to develop a nuclear bomb. And on the other hand, Israel is carrying out a strategic strike to get America involved to completely destroy their nuclear program and to establish a friendly regime change in Iran in the Middle East. So what's my prediction? I predict Iran is going to strike Israel back hard. Then the United States is going to come in and destroy their nuclear program, their nuclear infrastructure, and complete regime change in the Middle East. I think they're going to do exactly what Israel wants. Israel will become a world superpower, and now they are dangerous. Because you think they don't listen to us now. Wait till they control the imports, the exports, everything in the Middle East. Oil, gas, the Persian Gulf, oil refinery, enrichment. Wait till they control all of that. Now you're really in trouble. And that's my prediction for it. So I've been right all along, every step of the way. If you're still not paying attention, I don't know what to tell you. But I've been right every step of the way. And this is what's going to happen. The United States is going to interfere. Whether we have actual boots on the ground, whether we decide to airstrike their nuclear program, whether that's even possible without boots on the ground, I don't know. But what I do know is America is going to get involved, and we will complete the regime change in the Middle East, and Israel will get what they want. And there will be a new world order in the Middle East and in the world in general. And there will be innocent lives that are killed because of this. There will be severe casualties. Hundreds and millions will die before the United States decides to fully step in. And then from there, it's just all hell breaks loose. I mean, this is a war. This is world war. You have Russia and Ukraine going on right now. Let's not forget that. You have Russia and Ukraine. You have China and Taiwan. Now you have Israel, the United States versus Iran. Afghanistan already threatened to come in. And now you're talking a regional war. Now you're talking a world war for complete hegemony in the Middle East. And, you know, and this is the last thing I'll say before I end the show. The golden age, right, guys? This is the golden age. This is Trump 2.0. He's not messing around this time. Yeah. Well, now the war between Russia and Ukraine has escalated bigger than ever. Now we're going to go to war on Israel's behalf in Iran. Afghanistan's going to respond. We're going to get involved in a nuclear war in the Middle East. World War III. This is Trump 2.0. And it's funny because I was going to debate this guy on Twitch about this. He had like 400,000 followers. I was supposed to debate him on it, and he backed out of the debate. Wonder why? Because I was right. I was right all along. None of you listened. I got shamed on TikTok everyone was saying you're just a low-level anti-Semite. You don't know what you're talking about. You just hate Trump. I was right. You were wrong. Period. End of story. So I'll leave it up to you guys. You guys decide. Is it because Iran has nukes? Or is it because Israel is this rogue state with a nuclear bomb, with a Satanist agenda to control the Middle East? Which one? Which one? And for all you Christians out there that are saying, this is really the last thing I'll say before I end the show. For all you Christians out there that say, oh, well, we have to support Israel. It's in the Bible. It's biblical. You're not understanding the Bible properly. You can unfollow me after this. You can dislike the show. I don't care. I'm not Ben Shapiro. I'm not Charlie Kirk. I'm not Curtis Yarvin. I'm not Tucker Carlson. I'm not Matt Walsh. I have dignity. I don't care about a fucking following or a like, or I care about the truth. I care about America. I'm not here, oh, well, technically we have to be very careful. This is the delicate topic. No, it isn't. You're just a coward. That's what you are. So, I don't care how this makes anybody feel. Any Christian, any Muslim, any Jew. I don't care. But the truth is, for all you Christians out there that are saying, oh, well, we have to support the Jews. This is biblical. No, it's not. Because these are not the Jews from the Bible. These are not the Jews that were God's chosen people. They're not. That's why they are Jew-ish. They weren't called Jew-ish in the Bible. They were called Jews. They're called Jew-ish. Why? Because these are not the Jews from the Bible. The Jews from the Bible were Moses, were Abraham. They paved the way for Jesus Christ to come. That is why they were the chosen people. It's completely symbolic. Completely symbolic. Listen and understand. Do not take this personal. Do not get your feelings involved. Listen to what I am saying. These are not the Jews from the Bible. These Jews are hedonistic. These Jews believe in Moloch worshiping. These Jews believe sacrificing Christian children to the pagan god Moloch. These Jews are Talmudic. In their Talmud, it says that you can rape and kill Christian children. Go read it for yourself. Go do your own research and tell me, does this sound like God's chosen people? Go do it yourself. Jews say, oh, we're the chosen people. No, you're fucking not. You stupid idiot. No, you're not. The Christians are the new chosen people. When Jesus Christ died on the cross, that changed the dynamic from Jews being the chosen people to people that accept Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. Those are the chosen people. Hello? This isn't fucking Jews that believe in biting 2-year-old kids' penises off. This isn't God's chosen people. This isn't God's chosen people that believe that Jesus Christ is burning in a pile of shit. This is in their Talmud. This is in their holy book. Do you really think that these are God's chosen people? And if you do, I question your intelligence. Disrespectfully, I question your intelligence if you believe that that's the case. It was symbolic. When he said the Jews are the chosen people, it was symbolic. It's people that paved the way for him. It's people that sacrificed their lives for him. It's people that dedicate their lives for him, for Jesus Christ, for God. Who are those people now? Are they Jewish people that believe that Jesus is burning in a pile of shit? Or is it Christians? Or is it Catholics? Which one is it? The Christians are the chosen people of today. The Christians are the real Jews. Not people that believe in biting foreskin of penises off and sacrificing children to the pagan god, to pagan deities, to Moloch. Oh, you can't say that. We're God's chosen people. We have to help Israel. We have to help them. It's biblical. No, it's not. You have to help Christians. What are you doing for Christians? What are you doing for Catholics? You're spreading degeneracy. You're spreading hate, racial discrimination, racial hatred towards each other. You're involving us in wars. This is not godly at all. But that's that. I want to, but really, all right. That's it. I want to move on. I want to get to the end of the show. So again, big show. We went over the real reason why Iran and Israel are at war. We went over why the United States is now going to get involved. We went over all of it. And if you're still confused, I question your intelligence. So, this is an all-out blown war. We're in it. And now more than ever is the time to pray. Now's the time more than ever to get involved with your family. Now's the time more than ever to repent of your sins. Now's the more time than ever to do what you want to do. Because this is scary. But that's that, guys. I'm going to end the show there. That's going to do it for me. Before we get out of here, I'm going to remind you to smash the follow button on Rumble. Smash the like button. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think of the show. And if you're watching me on YouTube, guys, I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Help me to impact and to reach as many people as possible. And I will talk to you guys again soon. Enjoy the rest of your evening.